Hello, everybody, and welcome to Buhen. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'll never know. We have a population requirement of 3,000, a culture rating requirement of 25. We need to build a small obelisk. This is the military sister mission to South Dashur. And most of our military missions in the new expansion have been military light. We'll have to see if we have much to do with the military before we win out this game. See two things on this map. I see ore and I see ostriches. We can hunt those ostriches. We can plant chickpeas. We do have some meadow farm, but it's on the other side of a pretty impenetrable barrier of rock. I don't know if I want to do double ferries just to get at it. Plus the meadow is in the middle of the desert. I'm sure it's not very fertile. There's ore on the other side of the rock, but do I want to mess with the rivers as well with that? We can plant barley and we can brew beer with it. We can also do our own papyrus, our own pottery, our own linen. We can make bricks and we can make jewelry. We can mine limestone and our ore is for gold. So that makes life interesting. A gold economy is always fun. I don't know how many we'd be able to squeeze in there. I'll have to take a look. Seth is our patron god. As sometimes is the case in a military mission. And we have Ta on the map as well. For military, we have an academy finally. So our freshly trained troops will be +1 in terms of their level. Still only weaponsmiths, can't provide bows. And we do have the ability to do a bit of a navy. Our monument is a small obelisk. We need 100 granite in order to make that. So we'll want to be importing granite as soon as we can. And kami is a very expensive water route. They buy some beer and they're a source of copper. Mennefer buys beer as well and barley. Maydoom sells clay, so we'll be able to make our own pottery, which is better than importing it. They sell us wood, which we're going to need for the obelisk, because it requires carpenters and then stonemasons. They sell us reeds. They buy a lot of beer. I can see us opening them. Sarabit Kadim is a land route. They sell copper. They're a cheaper trade route than Nkami is, so we might want to think about them as our source of copper. Abu sells granite. We're going to want to open these guys immediately. They also buy papyrus, so I could do an in-out with Maydoom. We're going to open them. Salima Oasis is a source of wood as well. They also buy beer. I think I'm going to open Maydoom just so we can get those reeds. And we're going to try to sell some pottery, sell some papyrus, sell some beer, and mine that gold. So we'll want to import 100 of the granite. The quicker we get to 100, the quicker we'll be out of the mission. So we do want to trade for it right off the bat. We'll bring in clay and export pottery. We'll want to export beer. We'll want to bring in reeds and export papyrus. We'll open a copper trade route when we're ready to start making weapons. We'll bring in wood from a wood trade route when we're ready to start working on the monument. So all our trade routes are water. So we'll want a place for a dock. Thinking if I do dock and ferry here, we can do large senator block for this side of the river, which will supply employment for the gold mines and the city palace. And we can do a large senator block over here, maybe do our military on this side and our hunting of the game meat. So I can run some storage yards up this side and some industry up this side. leaves room for 4 industrial buildings. That leaves room for 3 storage yards, so not bad. I'll get rid of some of the road. Room for 3 buildings on this side of it. That makes a fairly decent loop here. And leaves room for 2 more storage yards on this side if we need to. So I kind of like that. Let's see what we can do with our mines before we go any further. I think I can fit in 3 over here. And only 1 over here. And I think 4 is what I'm going to be able to put over here. It's a shame I won't be able to do anything off this side, but it would mean putting the city palace over here and running across a ferry and running these guys across a ferry. I just think 8 good ones close to the city palace is probably better than 10 or 11 with that long of a walk. Thinking if I send a road down here, which is going to do some breweries, then I've got a pretty decent place to start my senator block. And we can put breweries on this side of the road and houses on this side, and the breweries will pick up employment, and then these houses can supply for the mine. We'll set up a warehouse for pottery and for beer and papyrus and for clay and reeds. The reason I want a dedicated pottery warehouse is simply because of Ta being on the map. He could very easily and quickly give us a full yard of pottery. In fact, I want to go back here and change this to export over 100, so there's always a piece of pottery in the yard for Ta to notice, which will act as a seed for a blessing. And then we'll want 5 potters to handle that 2,500 a year that we can do. Before I lay this down, I want to figure out where my road is going to my farm, so I place this in a smart spot. So we'll start here, and we'll do that little farm quartet that I like. And in case you haven't seen it, you can start your irrigation at the end of a road, and that puts it right up close enough to irrigate these higher up fields. And it's a very nice way to get irrigated farms with not a large footprint if you do them in 4s like this. So this is where my road is going to come in. And I do want work camps to get out to the fields. So that'll work if I do an extra one of those. So I think what I might do is go full on this one for beer. And then I'll go half papyrus and half barley. We'll do this one for reeds and clay like we were saying. And this one for pottery. So our 5th pottery will go here. We'll need 5 papyrus makers. A yard here, which is going to accept granite. And then we'll move it over here to some getting yards. And that'll be an efficient way of getting the import and then getting it away from the docks till we have 100. We're running out of funds, and I probably still want to get this housing block set up over here, and I want to get the breweries set up. I get 9 breweries over here. We could sell 4,000. Just gonna do some quick math. 7 breweries will handle 4,000. So I think we'll put them down first. I do have to make sure this doesn't burn down or fall down. And I do want the breweries covered with fire. And then another firehouse over here. And we can add extra breweries if we open up a trade route that does more beer. So that puts us in our reserve funds. We still have a fair amount of funds. That wasn't bad. We've got our initial economy set up. Now let's just get enough employees in for all of this and get them fed. Let's make sure this doesn't burn down or fall down. And I think probably an architect right here should be enough. Somebody will come up this way and get that. I'm going to plan where my senator block is going over here. I could stick my water carrier where the physician goes and stick my physician where the water carrier goes. We could do something like that. I'll be able to put a granary right here. And I could put the storage yard right here. And architect and fire. Accept all game meat here. And we'll get it here. And then we'll put one here that will get game meat over here. Let's get some hunters down. And set up some housing. So there's our key houses for this side of the river. And there's our key houses for this side of the river. We can tax people right away. This is how I usually like to do it in case I am running into trouble with city sentiment. And here we're swapping the water carrier position locations. We'll want to protect against crime pretty fast, but I think I'll hold off for a little while just because I only want to put down courthouses and I want to make sure I don't run out of funds. We'll get down a temple to Ptah in both the blocks. And our bazaars. And we'll just set them to buy game meat at first. And we'll get down the rest of the housing and then I'll decide if I'm going to put down that temple complex. I would rather put down the temple complex right off the bat. Just going to put hygiene on #1 priority. Then I'm going to turn the beer industry off. I'm going to turn papyrus off and pottery off until we get some clay and reeds into the yards. And I'm just going to roll the dice that we'll be able to get out of debt quickly. I don't want Seth to become unhappy with me. And we'll go live. Hopefully we get a steady gold income right off the bat. There, we've got our granite for this year. Water carriers are out, so I'm going to switch off of hygiene and onto production buildings just so these gold mines get going. We have barley coming off the fields. So I think I'm going to turn the breweries on. And there's clay delivery. And there's reed delivery. Thankfully, we're getting gold to the palace now. I will turn on papyrus and pottery. There is beer for sale now. We didn't get a flood. By the looks of it, our fertility is really crappy. Our nilometer is dismal. We're almost out of debt, which means it's going to be time to think about the military. We do want to get some more people into town. Get our first archer fort down. Started to look not too bad. Gonna give our gardens. And I'm gonna have to open up a copper trade route. It's also time to get a little bit more help with Taw. That should take us to 3,000 people with them. And that'll take us to everything we need with Taw, so the gods will be happy for the rest of the game. And I've got 24 months to supply 8 limestone, so I'm just going to take a little detour and set something up for that. That should do it. And I want to get some weaponsmiths down. And start bringing in some copper. So I think we'll do it with the cheap way, and we'll get it from Sarabit Kadim. Actually, maybe not. Maybe I'll go in commie, and we can sell a little bit of beer to balance out the copper. And I'll put down those extra breweries. Although, if we don't get some floods, we're not going to really be brewing a lot of beer, although we have a lot of barley in the yard here. So let's bring in copper. We'll bring in 200 for each of those weaponsmiths. And we'll put down an infantry fort. So the military is going. And let's also, before I forget, get the courthouses down, because we don't want to end up in trouble with getting robbed from the treasury. And we got 4% unemployment. Can't think of anything else I want to get down. So we might just run like this for a while, because I really don't want to run up against a lot of trouble in terms of employment until we need to. Might put down my entertainment schools. And let's supply that. That'll eat up some of the unemployment. Maybe I'll get a little bit more hunters down. And I'll get a storage yard that's going to bring beer and pottery across the river later, when we want to start evolving that block. What else can we do to soak up some unemployment? Probably put our guilds down. Where are we going to bring in the wood? Can we even bring it in yet? Yes, we can. We'll put down our guilds for our monument. Put down 2 carpenters and 2 stonemason guilds. I can live with that level of unemployment for now. Could also put down the scribal schools. I don't think I'm going to put down libraries. And let's sell papyrus when over 800. That way no one will come and touch what's in this yard here. We'll hold it to Seth. And then we'll hold one to Ta. Hold one to Ta. And I think we're going to put down some more forts. Probably just go infantry forts from here on out. That's probably all we need. So we need 1,000 more people. This in the library spot. We'll start bringing ear and pottery over here. We just got a whole yard of pottery, I believe. And we're going to make sure no one touches what's in those yards. And we're going to go over 900 here, so hopefully there's always going to be something in the yard for Todd to notice over here. And what did he give us? Did he give us clay? Does he do that? Do I want to stick a house in the mortuary spot, or do I want to start giving these guys entertainment? We'll deliver the limestone. I'll put down the entertainment venues here. And we'll plaza things up. So all that's left to do is give pottery and beer to these housing blocks and they will evolve up. Got a little bit more granite to bring in before we start on our obelisk. So we've got a well-run little city here. And we don't have any employment problems now. We need about 800 more people in town. We're still idolized as a god. I'm going to speed things up. And we'll get to work on that obelisk as soon as we can. And then we'll bring the rest of the people into town. And we should be out of the mission. Dentists. That's what we need to do. We need to maul some molars. I can do that, but I better stockpile it. Yeah, so we have everything we need except the kingdom rating and the monument. We're carrying a bit more unemployment than I like, so I'm going to just drop the tax rate down and give a little bit more of a raise. We should be able to keep everybody happy until it's time to bring in the rest of the people. Still haven't got any warnings about attacks at all. So as far as military missions go, it seems to be on par with the regular military missions that we see in this game. Not a lot of threat. We're never going to get a flood in this game, I think. Our fertility is 24%. It's probably going to drop every year. We just about have our granite. There we go. Let's send everybody out. We'll keep one company behind for us to fill up. We can provide that limestone. We're interested in getting granite. %8 unemployment. We get to trade more granite. We'll be making that monument pretty soon. And we saved Sarabit Kadim, and everybody came home. We'll have all that granite pretty quick. And our kingdom rating is, wow, we got a big boost from saving Sarabit Kadim. I think I'm going to start bringing everybody into town. Buy pottery here, buy beer here. Same with down here. see these go up to common manor in most places. And do we have enough? And there's our monument. The unemployment is going to be outrageous here. I could set up a little work camp farm right over here, but I think we'll be okay. Especially since we're not going to be here much longer. Monument is almost done. We almost have our 3,000 people. I'm going to put a house in the monument spots. Or the mortuary spots, sorry. See if we can get that last little bit of people into town. We need 36 more people. We have an army coming. How am I going to do this? Maybe by doing that.
Thanks to your skill, Egypt now claims part of Nubia as its own. Through the city you have established, you have demonstrated Egypt's strength, wealth, and grandeur to the conquered Nubians.
I don't know what helped bring the last couple people in. I don't know if it was evolving these up to common manors from the residences here, but we did make it to 3,000 people. 30% unemployment is pretty bad. But if you save your big immigration push right to the end, you can usually get away with stuff like that. At least we don't have a bunch of ugly work camps around. So military-wise, really didn't get a lot of action. They had to go out to Sarabit Kadim on behalf of Pharaoh, but that's the only military part of this military mission. I believe we're in North Dashur next, so we'll have a pretty decent bit of monument building to do there. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.